Tomer from Matterport. How many of you have heard of Matterport in the crowd? Okay, quite a few. Great. So, hopefully this starts showing up on the screen. Great. Everyone hear me? So what Matterport does is we create a 3D camera that very rapidly, cost-effectively, and kind of a very easy-to-use device that can capture both spherical images and 3D to create basically our 3D models. We've been around for about 5 years. Our primary market has been real estate. And only in the past pretty much year have we started venturing into new fields, with AEC being probably our highest growth market today. So I'll start out with a little real estate demo. And this is just one of our views. You can go into floor plan, skip between floors. The camera, as you move it around, automatically detects which floor you are. And of course, you have the ability to, let me just full size that, kind of walk around any environment that you scanned. So what we're doing right now is actually popping in between spherical images while moving through mesh, which is why we are kind of the best-in-class virtual tours right now. The camera costs $3,500, so obviously ways cheaper from what you guys are used to seeing from other 3D scanners. And that's kind of what's led to our surge in the real estate market. Now, and I'll kind of move over to my presentation over here, I'll tell you a little bit more about Matterport and what we've been doing in the AEC market. So, as I said, we created an easy-to-use scanner that's very quickly and affordably creates 3D models so people can walk around using any device and feel like they're there. One of our major use cases that we've seen mainly around general contractors is the use of Matterport to run construction documentation. So this is used for liability purposes, dispute resolution, whether it's between owner, GC and subs. It's a great record to have, and the alternative today is basically pictures. It's a great handover project because owners today are used to receiving hard drives with 50,000 images that no one can really scroll through. They're very hard to find when you actually need to find something, and now they receive basically 80,000 square foot model that they can walk around, navigate to very easily. And as you can see in the little image over here, create their punch list items, inspection items, observations, and anything they want directly on the model. So it's a great communication tool, field to office coordination, and so on. Second use is very much like other laser scanners out there. We provide an XYZ format point cloud, fully colored and registered. Just to give you an impression of the time frame we're looking at, 10,000 square foot space would take about an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours. Scanning with Matterport, depending on the layout and how the environment looks. About 2 hours later, the model that you guys saw is prepared. And about 2 to 3 hours later, you have a fully registered, stitched, colored point cloud. So that's a pretty fast turnaround that we were able to provide. And it's used, and the point cloud is at an accuracy of about 99% and higher. Empirically, we've seen about 99.5%. Which means that in tight net rooms, that's going to be 1/2 inch, residential, probably 2 inches, larger commercial space, we could go all the way up to 6-7 inches. So its use is dependent on what exactly you're doing with the as-built and what environment you're scanning. So we export, on top of the XYZ point cloud, we also export a high resolution floor plan and reflected ceiling plan. These come with a scale and in JPEG format, and they're quickly used to create CAD files or just do verification of the as-built condition against your BIM. Third, facilities management, and this is where we're seeing a lot of growth, and I'll show you a model that's really built for this. But as I said, this is a great turnover product for owners. They're not as used to BIM, they're not as technical, they're facilities managers even more so. To receive these visual models with critical facility management data, asset data, linked to them, and we can actually hyperlink these tags, as I'll show you, is a much better deliverable a lot of times than even an accurate BIM to FM, which from a lot of our customers' impression doesn't really happen anyway. So this is a very affordable way to transfer basically operations, a live operations manual to the owners, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So here are a few models, and maybe I'll start out with what I finished with, because I built it up so much, as the kind of facilities management walkthrough. So this is a boiler room. Contractor finished work here and went around, tagged the entire facility. And here what you'll see is they've tagged operation manuals, right? Kind of very easy to navigate through. And this is a URL, right? So as soon as someone comes to service this room, the owner, facilities manager is able to copy this, send them this in an email, and they basically have everything they need to service the room, right? They know every pump, where it goes. There's also an ability in our model, if I want to show them, let's say this specific breaker over here, I press the letter U, that URL that's created in the top right corner is a unique URL to that position and camera pose in the model, which means that I can direct someone to any location in the model very easily. So this is kind of a great turnover product. We've seen this rise in popularity with our GCs and our engineering firms quite a lot. And as I said, this is actual 3D data, right? So in a case down the year, 2 years down the line, renovation, retrofit, you can actually measure directly off this, and I might actually open our workshop area later on if I have a little time, and just signal me where I'll be in 5 minutes, great. And I'll show you how you can measure directly off this, so not even exporting a point cloud and bring it into more sophisticated tools for measurement. I can do some ad hoc measurements in-app. Next, we'll go over here and maybe open one of our during construction models. Let's see. This one is more popular with our general contractors. As I said, turning this over to owners, and slowing down a bit here. And I have to excuse my conference Wi-Fi. So turning over to owners, we're seeing GCs use this in two ways. One, kind of progress reporting, if you're familiar with Multivista service, a very kind of do-it-yourself Multivista. And Multivista comes into your site and documents your job site every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so. What you can do here, and because of the ease of use, this is what we're seeing a lot of GCs in terms of their workflow, getting an intern, field engineer, sometimes even a college student to come by on weekends for 5 hours, scan the entire site. The camera costs $3,500. The software ranges between $500 and $1,500 a year. So the costs, if you match that up with a college intern going every 2 weeks, you're saving about 95% off what Multivista charges. So it's a pretty sweet deal. Afterwards, as I said, owners get something like this, and you can zoom in here. They get something like this instead of 50,000 pictures, so they're very happy with that. And maybe we'll do one more. And this has become very, very popular. This is an engineering firm model. And what they've done is realize that, as I said, we're 99.5% accurate, and in tight environments like this mechanical room, that's about 1 centimeter, which is good enough. It's probably overkill to bring one of the high-end survey-grade devices in a space like this. And sorry, I'll full screen it. Probably overkill. Manually measuring this entire room could take days. Our device was in there for 45 minutes. in and out. About 2 hours later, model's ready. 2 hours later, fully colored point cloud with a centimeter tolerance. For a project like this, that's great cost savings. And what we're seeing more and more is that even, and I'll kind of take a step back, even surveyors, whether it's service providers or engineering firms that do have Faros, Leicas, and the other kind of high-grade, survey-grade devices, they've become so used to taking Matterport on and receiving this great visual, kind of photorealistic walkthrough, and it's helped them a lot in their modeling process, to the point that they will actually go and take the Matterport, which doesn't really take any extra time and can have a very low-cost employee running it, and deploy it with their Faros and Leicas as they're surveying. They'll take the point cloud from the Faros and Leicas, and their drafters will actually constantly be using the visual walkthrough. We see this being used as another screen. Coming soon, we'll have a Revit plugin, so this can actually be viewed as a quadrant in Revit. But we're seeing these visual walkthroughs as a great either substitute when the environment and the use case is right, or kind of hybrid model use with the other high-end laser scanners. And maybe with the 1 minute I have left, a question or two from the crowd. Over here.
Do you export the spherical images from your platform?
No, we do not. We do allow exporting of high-resolution JPEGs that you can take snapshots from within our workshop area. But the spherical images themselves, we are not yet able to export. Yes?
Can you do measurements directly in this view?
Not in this view, but maybe if I have really fast, I'll do it. I'll launch this workshop. It takes a little bit longer. This is the area where you do tagging, measuring, labeling of rooms, and any other kind of functionality. Yes?
Can you cite the source for the 1% accuracy?
The source.
99.5% accuracy?
Yeah, so the 99% accuracy is what we put on our website that's been field tested
Yes.
by us as well as others, some of them in this conference. Actually, one of the best sources of that accuracy claim is Paul Tice. He's actually going to be doing a keynote at 1:30, and he did his measurements were done based on Faro and Leica measurements with Cloud Compare, if you're familiar with the software.
Yeah,
and
so
you can see that video.
So
on
that it was
website.
compared to a LiDAR solution?
Yeah.
In order to determine what the accuracy is for
Yes,
Matterport?
exactly.
Thank you.
Yes?
Where does the data reside? Is it all cloud-based or can it?
Amazon, AWS, everything is on Amazon. The point cloud can be exported, high-resolution floor plans, JPEGs, OBJ, but the model itself is viewed only in our proprietary viewer, therefore can't be exported. Can be downloaded to iPhone or iPad for offline viewing, but that's it. Yes?
Did it work if the movies die?
Yeah, we have a high dynamic range on the camera, so we actually do very well in low light conditions, but not no light conditions. Okay, and that's all the time we have. I'm going to be right here, so if you have any other questions.